You told us so. We did the season preview. We went through all the divisions.
Shut the fuck up. He said Winnipeg was going to suck, and Winnipeg is at the top of the division. So let's just pump the brakes on the compliments here.
I'm sorry, Isha, where did you rank the Boston Bruins this year? I think you had them at 5.
All right, next question.
So Z, just tell us how wrong everyone in the world was. Besides, I kind of listened to you. I put them at 2 in the Atlantic, but how wrong was everybody about the Boston Bruins this year?
Is my Wi-Fi still okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Did you hear
Isha strategically? I thought Isha may have strategically cut it. Just play the fucking hits, will you? Jesus, he's just already trying to carve me about another pick. God damn it.
I'm gonna let you talk.
Yeah, a lot of people were wrong, and for really stupid reasons. I think anyone who was like, David Krejci is not an upgrade. He's going to be slower. And I'm saying, well, he has literally been slow his entire career. And that's not what makes him a good hockey player. And guess what? He still has the hands. He's still defensively very good.
Real quick.
Yes.
I don't know what the fuck they're feeding them over there or what's going on, or if there's just blatant lying going on with the medical staff, but having 2 players go from having like 3-month injuries down to coming back after a month, people probably weren't ready for that.
Yep. But that's been a thing that they've done forever. Like, historically, like, first of all, the Bruins training staff in general and like their medical staff are very good. Like, again, this is a historic thing where unless your name's like David Backus and you probably are holding the training staff at gunpoint so that you can play again. Generally speaking, they set timelines for injuries way farther.
Yeah.
Like they always do this. They're like, this is our target date, but the real target date's usually like a month before that. And along with that, they don't let them like touch the ice if they're not totally ready or they're not comfortable. So they've never really rushed guys back. So I think everyone saw the 2 dates for Marchand and McAvoy. And I think everyone around here is probably probably 2 weeks before that is probably when you'll see them again. But again, like everyone's saying, oh, well, they got to hold their head above water while they wait for them. And it's like, well, Hampus Lindholm's healthy and not playing in Anaheim anymore. Patrice Bergeron just won his 5th Selke. They still have David Pastrnak, who scores 40 goals every year. Taylor Hall is a middle 6 winger on this team.
Which is crazy.
And he's loving it. That line's nasty.
Bottom 6 right now, and it's working great.
Yeah, the line of him, Coyle, and Frederick they're putting up legitimately elite numbers right now, albeit in a still not very big sample size, but like enough to be like, yeah, no, that's a legit, effective, good third line. It's kind of like, and you'll like this, Hoppy, it's kind of like their version of the HBK line, right? Where like Phil Kessel's a top 6 forward, but on that third line, he's going to torch those matchups. There's no pressure on him. Dude. And like he's gonna get all the offensive looks in the world. So like him and Coyle this year too.
You've got the grit, you've got the more skill, and you've got the speed, right? Mm-hmm. And it is the perfect balance for a third line, especially in a league that like a lot of fourth lines aren't even grit, like they're going more skill. So that makes a ton of sense. Shit, man, yeah, it's impressive.
Well, they just bolstered their depth, right? Where like
100%, yeah.
And Jim Montgomery. Legitimately, the second that they fired Butch and then they started firing around all these names for rumors for a head coach, like in the back of my head, I was like, I really hope like they at least give a look to Jim Montgomery because like he has a lot of success with very similar type players, like guys like Trent Frederick, Matt Grzelcyk, like a lot of college guys play really well with Jim Montgomery, and he's overall just a very positive reinforcement type coach, and I think Bruce Cassidy is one of the best coaches in the NHL. That's a fact.
Well, dude, let's look around the league, right? Like all of the like replacement coaches have torched.
Yeah.
DeBoer in Dallas. We got why am I spacing on names? Whoever took over
Cassidy in Vegas, dude.
Shout out Isha. Cassidy going to Vegas. And then of course we all know
Bonus, DeBoer.
Yeah, Bonus.
Like,
Yep.
Lindy Ruff isn't a replacement coach, but like they're healthy.
I love.
Well, I don't know.
He's a funny bastard.
Promoted.
He is
like,
a funny fucking bastard.
Lindy Ruff is awesome.
He's so funny. Actually, like coordinating an apology in game at the rink was just fucking incredible.
Amazing.
Curious though, Z. I mean, on paper, things look perfect. Don't change anything. But in your mind, if the team's going to make any kind of move leading up to the deadline, like what would you like to see? Or do you just want them to leave the team alone?
I think right now you have like the luxury that they bought, not only like getting by / dominating without 2 of their 4 best players. Like now you had the luxury of time where they don't even need to know right now. You know what I mean? Like you can literally play it up to the deadline. Like, all right, like what are we missing?
Available?
What do we need to bolster here? And right now everything's kicking like the shit they didn't have in the past where, hey, if that top 6 isn't on the ice, and a lot of times really just that top line, thank God the defense is always elite every year because you're not going to score. And now they're getting contributions from Nick Foligno. They're getting contributions from AJ Greer when he's in the lineup. They're getting contributions from like Nosek here and there. Mm-hmm. Their third line has Taylor Hall on it. Like they've bought themselves this luxury of being like anything that we could add at the deadline really is just a bonus.
Yeah.
And like I guess maybe we just want more depth because realistically you don't really have to touch that top 6. You don't have to touch the top 4D. Like everyone's gonna get hurt. So, and that's always been a thing in Boston, right around playoffs. Everyone gets fucking hurt again. So like if anything, depth. And I kind of wonder, like for me, I kind of wonder, like, do you even entertain the thought of like a third goaltender? Just because Swayman's been hurt, Olmark's been hurt. Yeah. Swayman's had a 50-50 type year. So I kind of wonder about like like you look at Dallas last year when they added Wedgwood.
Yeah.
And like he was great. And he's still, generally speaking, he plays really well. So I kind of wonder about a move like that.
The Melka's the goalie that someone's going to grab, and it's going to be a great fucking move.
Yeah, he's been a stud somehow.
Man. Z, I got to ask, though, like, obviously, like, the Sota Pod, very, very pro Lindholm podcast. Like, if Charlie McAvoy doesn't come back as soon, does Lindholm have a shot at being in the Norris conversation this year? Because he started the year fucking fire.
No, he hasn't slowed down either. Like he's still probably.
No, but they'll never give it to him when he's playing with McAvoy. That's just how the league works.
Well, I mean, they're not going to give. Well, they're also not going to give it to McAvoy anyways this year, even if he's a stud the rest of the year. You know, like it's just not happening. But yeah, I mean, he was probably in the top 3 for a lot of people. And I still think he's probably top 6 or 7 right now, just because like he's just a fucking stud. He's playing like 25 minutes a night. Everything that he did when he was at his peak in Anaheim, like it was never that offense, but it was, hey, he can skate backwards and keep up with McDavid.
Yeah,
and shut McDavid down to an extent.
I would say he's a very slightly less defensively oriented, but slightly more offensively oriented Brodin.
He's a version of Brodin for sure.
Guys. Yeah.
But Hampus Lindholm's bigger and he plays a lot like Brodin. Again, you put him in the category as like tough because he's not the biggest dude on the planet. He's not the most physical, but he can handle the hard matchups, no problem. Like, sure, if you want to fucking throw like another team's version of the Foligno Eriksson at Greenway line at him, he doesn't really give a shit. Because first of all, you have to catch him. You can't forecheck him 99% of the time. And he's gonna he's an escape artist out there. Like, and in Boston, the version of that actually is probably like a Matt Grzelcyk, except Matt Grzelcyk gets like fucking crushed sometimes and is very injury prone. And Brodin's able, like the skate that, again, not to make this like a draft thing, but like I don't put I think skating can be like a separating thing when you're looking at a prospect, where like it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, his skating is bad enough that he'll never play a game. Like I don't really, but if like at the other end of the spectrum, an elite skater that can separate you from another. Like if you're a defensive defenseman, that can like the skating part of that. If it's like escapability, like handling forward checks, transition, defense to offense, I think that is what can like make you a separating factor over of like a pure offensive defenseman. And on top of that, if you can defend at a high level, like Brodin, like Lindholm, like that's what for me separates guys. Like the other end of the spectrum, not so much. You have to be like a fucking really bad skater to just be like, I'm gonna put you 2 rounds lower than you should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's so like there you go. Like with Lindholm too, like the skate, like he's healthy again this year. Like he hasn't been healthy in a long time, which is why the contract is still, even though it's like a good number, the years is scary and like whatever. But like right now, who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck right now.
That was such a good fucking trade. Like the second it happened, I'm like, God fucking damn it, Boston.
Still not 30. That's because he's played so much in Anaheim at a young age that we think he's maybe even older than he is, but he's not even 30 yet. Like this guy's he just entered his athletic prime. So
now I got two things then for you, Z, off of that, and then we'll move on from the Bruins. One's positive, one's negative. Where are we starting?
Oh, you tell me. Your podcast.
Negative. Let's get it out of the way. Let's rip off the Band-Aid.
It's been covered on Judd's Buds a little bit, but we just need to hammer it out here. What kind of fucking donkey organization pulls what they fucking pulled with the Mitchell Miller stuff?
Ooh.
Like, talk us through that. How do you feel?
Yeah, because we didn't talk through it too much, to be honest.
We kind of hammered it.
I don't know. Like, it really just like all around. Just, I mean, what more can you really say? It just sucked. Like, especially, I mean, it sucks anywhere. That is never like, you can't really totally recover from like that kind of a fucking move, that like dipshit move at the worst possible time. And like, that's like the least of my concerns with what happened there. Like the fact that like from top to bottom, it was completely and utterly botched. Like clearly no homework went into it. Clearly it was a team with one of the worst prospect pools in the league, being like, we have to do something. And like, even then for me, well, that was the thing. Like, and apparently there was a conversation when he got picked up from the airport. It's like, hey, like Sweeney's going to pick you up. And he was like, and if anything goes sideways, I'll be the one like driving you back to. It's like, okay, so you knew something was coming here. Obviously they didn't expect it to be the magnitude that it was, but like all in all, it's like, really, like we have a historic start. And then you're just bringing this fucking asshole into a dressing room that like forever has been like the pinnacle of like, hey, this is what you want a dressing room to be like. This is the culture.
Period.
Yep.
And it takes the backlash from fans, and it takes your own players being like, hey, yeah, no, fuck this publicly. Hey, fuck this kid and fuck this move. To have to like fix it, but now like no matter what, now they're stuck paying him. Like I think they paid him like a fucking big bonus a couple weeks ago.
That's like the smallest of things, though, right? And to be honest, though,
well,
like
not again, but like you're just like not even like no cap. Like I don't give a fuck about that. It's just like, hey, by the way, even though like we supposedly denounce, like we're not gonna whatever, like we want to terminate, we can't even terminate the contract, and you just paid him a fucking like $50,000 bonus a couple weeks ago. Like again, not for cap reasons. Like, hey, we're paying this fucking asshole.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah, cap stuff aside, it's like this kid does not deserve that. His, and like his family doesn't deserve that either, based on his actions either.
Holy
and now they're being set the fuck up on this contract.
That's fucking dumb. But I am kind of curious though, and maybe I'm like oblivious whether it's not being plugged in enough nationally or not plugged in enough in Boston. But like, I'm actually kind of shocked at how much it's already kind of breezed over. Like people aren't really talking about it
winning
at all. So
solves everything.
Winning solves everything, I guess. All right, we'll pivot positive then. New coworker at my company, and a couple of us got together for lunch, and we're just talking hockey, and he's apparently a Boston fan, and we randomly just started ranking like who are the like current top 5 defensemen in the league, and I personally couldn't find a way to put McAvoy outside of the top 5. I couldn't. Please go off on that. Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, he legitimately probably.
I put him at 5. He was my 5. Which
he's
most
firmly
people
in the top 5.
So.
I don't really I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I don't really think there's anything you could even really say to argue it. Like people are like, well, the offense isn't there. It's like, well, last week put up like what 55 points.
He's not Canadian.
Yeah, there you go. Literally, he is the perfect modern day defenseman, and he might be the best defenseman at even strength in the fucking league, offensively, defensively.
Go off on me though for my number 4, and there's a little bias, but I'm also just like I'm obsessed with this player. I put number 4, Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably defensively, I'd still put McAvoy above him. Like McAvoy this year he's been, I mean, the points are there. I think he's still over a point per game right now since he's come back. He actually hasn't even been at his best yet since he's come back. And he's a stud. But the kid was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, feasting top matchups, like going up against Tampa's top line. He's 24 now. He like just turned 24. America. And like, I mean, he's eating him, and regardless of who his partner was, it was him just eating top lines alive. And if you look at the past couple of years, Boston Bruins, whether it's actual just baseline like goals against per game, and then you look at like high danger chances against, expected goals against, they're number 1, number 2, number 3, and it's that kid that's been the backbone of the defense. Like he just eats matchups fucking alive. He murders people. Like he loves to play physical. He can skate and he moves the puck up the ice. And I think when he slows down in the offensive zone, that's when his offense really comes to play. But like sometimes when it was not at its best, it was him kind of like rushing the puck up the ice, like going deep and then like not really knowing what to do once he got close to the goal. And then it was like a turnover the other way. And that's when the offense really wasn't popping. But the transition game's there. And then once he slows down in the offensive zone, he can kind of just like be just kind of patrol the blue light a little bit and move the puck and get it where it needs to go. Then that's where the offense is starting to pop. But he just gives you everything. Like he really does. And he can give you 28 minutes a night. Like contributing offensive 5v5 and shutting down top lines in the NHL. Like every single top line at one point has just been like, there's a couple of years ago, even when the Bruins for whatever reason couldn't beat Washington, Ovechkin couldn't do shit with McAvoy on the ice. It was insane. Like the Bruins would outshoot the Capitals like 15-3 with McAvoy on the ice against Ovechkin. Like the numbers were insane. Yeah. And he just does that against every fucking top line in the league. Like it doesn't matter who it is. And he's that good. Like, so now, all in all, like all three zones stud. And now the offense is starting to pop. And I think he's gotten a lot better on that power play now that he's just kind of playing slower, just dishing instead of trying to do too much with the puck.
Dude, if the US and well, if NHL players ever go back to the Olympics, which like knock on wood, they do, like this guy is going to single-handedly defeat Canada. Honestly,
US is going to be right in the mix.
I know it's terrifying.
See, you did say that he has everything. The one thing that I'm not sure he'll ever have, and I'm curious what you think. Do you think he will ever outgrow the baby face?
No, that's part of what makes him so good.
He's 20. He's 24. I mean,
you got to balance it, right? You got Bergeron and you got McAvoy.
He looks like a bag of milk.
I mean, he's starting to lose a little bit of that, chub.
No, he's not.
Yeah, well, no. Now he keeps taking pucks and he keeps taking high sticks to the face. Is like permanently swollen. It's like the poor man's.
His cheeks are always going to be rosy red, and
it's like the poor man's version of like Ryan Lindgren's face. Like I swear to God, that dude's bleeding from his head 65%, 70% of the NHL games that he plays in. He's just bleeding from his face.
Oh man. All right, well, we'll turn the page on the Boston Bruins, but again, like Charlie McAvoy, hands down one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. And again, I'm not a Bruins fan at all, given that, they broke my heart the Canucks broke my heart facing them in 2011. But I will admit that like this guy is just
shouldn't have celebrated. He practiced celebrating. We can move past that.
He's an absolute stud.